990 AM or North Shore Radio Incorporated.
We can afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible.
All right, New Orleans, welcome to the Jack Clegg Show. This is almost June. That means it's going to be hot pretty soon. Man, last couple of days have been brutal. Thankfully, there's been some rain. Anyway, welcome to the show. You're listening to WGSO 990 AM, the premier radio station in New Orleans. No one can compete with us. That's what I'm told, anyway. And if you want to hear the audio podcast sometime in the future, if I say something and you want to say, oh, you heard what that knucklehead said? You can listen to it later on WGSO.com. There's an audio podcast of the show. And if you want to watch it, you can go to YouTube and type in Jack Clegg Show 53025. It's magic numbers. That's today's date. Anyway, so there's been so much going on. It's hard to limit what we're going to say, but we'll try, and we'll try to stay online today. One thing that I know many of you are tempted to do, the LSU game, the first regional game for the NCAA baseball playoffs, is in Baton Rouge today. And it was supposed to start at 2 o'clock today, right? Yeah, 2. And they have lightning and rain and so forth, so they pushed it back for a 5 o'clock start. So I know many of you, I don't know why you'd rather listen to the LSU game than listen to me, but statistically speaking, we've done an in-depth analysis of lightning in Baton Rouge, and it probably won't start till 6, so you can listen to the whole game. And Kobe, our meteorological expert, has confirmed that. I'm just joking. I wish I was listening to the game too, but we've got work to do, and we've got information to spread throughout our listening area, which is worldwide. Okay, so much is going on, but one of the things I wanted to talk about today, and it's going to be a long story, and it may be dry, and it may not be as exciting as you want. I'll try to liven it up a little bit. In the last 100 days, Trump has been in office, and we're hearing about all kinds of things that he's trying to change. All right. In the last several weeks, and I've been talking about this since April of 24, this topic being, who is in charge? Who's doing the work of our country? And, you know, we talked last week about the book Original Sin that came out, and Jake Tapper, the CNN reporter, or he's actually not a reporter, I guess he's a talking head on CNN. He and an Axios reporter put together a book which talks about the inability of President Biden to make decisions. Okay, no big shocker. But the fact that he did it and another reporter did it has raised lots of discussions. My opinion about that is, why are you missing the big story? Are you not able to get the big story? You're in D.C., you know all these birds. What's the big story? The big story is, who was in charge? It wasn't Biden. It wasn't Biden. Don't even joke about it being Biden. It wasn't. So you can say, oh, Biden had this, Biden had it. We all know this. I don't care what the details are. I don't care whether it was prostate cancer or dementia. But that's poor him, poor his family. I feel sorry for them. No one should have to go through that, but they did. But so the real problem always was, who's in charge? Okay. Now I want all of you to listen to this. This I think is very important. Trump is a disruptor, and he was a disruptor in his first term from 2016 to 2020. And by disruptor, I mean he came in saying, this is the swamp. We got to drain the swamp. This is horrible. He came in from the perspective of a businessman, a business developer, successful guy. And when you're developing property, you don't go to sleep. It's hard work. And you've got layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of different interests, different people competing to do different things, much like Washington, D.C., trying to run the country in a small microcosm. But if you're good at doing that, you probably are good at handling people and making things go. You have to have a vision. What are we trying to build? What are we trying to do? Then you have to put good people in those positions to do what they're supposed to do. And hopefully it all works out. Okay. So now we have the first 100 days of Trump. And Trump been given a great gift. What gift does Trump have? Well, there is not a single Democratic leader who I could say can put a dent in him or in any of what he's doing. We've got certainly the media, every time he makes a decision, attacking Elon Musk for going after Doge. And we all know we needed that. And we all know he was successful at finding that we were wasting money on stuff we shouldn't have been spending money on. Okay. At every aspect. And well, today and recently, they've been dealing with Supreme Court decisions. Okay. And that one we'll talk about today a little bit. And we have, let's just look at from 2020 to 2024. Okay, those 4 years. During those 4 years, our country exploded with illegal immigration. Why? Why? One of the reasons that has been out there for a long time, people have been saying it, is the Democrats wanted more people to come in that would require more government money. Therefore, these people would become Democratic voters. Okay. I don't know what the reason was, but that seems to be the primary reason. I don't hear, and here's the thing that's important. Here's the thing that's important. Go back to what I said a moment ago. Where are the people who were in charge when Biden was incapable? Somebody had to be making the decisions. I would expect, let's just think about this for a minute. Okay. We had 4 years of open borders, that people flying through. We had Mayorkas, the head of DHS, criticizing his own people for stopping people from coming across the border. He fabricated the story of the ICE guys on horseback saying they were whipping illegal aliens as they crossed the river. False. It was proven false. So my question is, and if anybody has heard this, please call in, please share. But what one would expect from 2020 to 2024, if your passion was open borders and you really thought this is a great thing for America, this is what we really need. Okay, and you saw what Trump was doing today, what would you do? Would you keep your mouth shut? Would you say nothing? Because I don't hear anything. I hear judges that, by means that we may touch on another program, make these decisions about deportation and so forth, but we don't hear from the people in the Biden administration who have just left town over the past year saying, oh no, this was good for our country. We need this. Where are they? Where are they? Our phone number is 504 5. I can't read right now. 556 9696. Couldn't read the number. 504 556 9696. If you've heard from anybody who was a politician, I'm not talking about a media type who's speculating. I'm talking about a decision maker who worked in DHS or worked to come forward and say, well, you know, what we're doing right now is not right. We should do what we did 4 years ago. Okay, we got to take a break. Jack Clegg Show will be back in inning number 2 in just a few moments.
Hi, this is Susan Berniker bringing you a new show, Health Connections, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. when we explore health from doctors, researchers, scientists, naturopaths, pharmacists, authors, fitness, and more. You'll be able to call in and ask your own health questions. So join me, Susan Berniker, every Wednesday at 5 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM with Health Connections.
Yo, what's up, New Orleans? This is The Whistle.
And I'm Jay.
Join us every Thursday at 4 p.m. on WGSO AM 990.
And around the world, www.wgso.com.
For Only Good Vibes News Network, your source of positive information.
We're bringing you good news and good vibes.
Every Thursday at 4 p.m. on 990 AM WGSO.
And streaming around the world on all your favorite devices, WGSO.com.
Hey, this is Nicole Dornack, and I'm excited to say I will be coming back Saturdays at noon. Catch me, Nick at noon. We'll be discussing food, life, the arts, libation, cooking, what's in, what's out at the grocery store, what's going on around town, everything that makes our city great. Calls and comments are welcome. Tune in Saturdays at noon right here, WGSO 990 AM, or catch the replay on the podcast on the Mixler app or at WGSO.com. Looking forward to chatting with y'all.
Hi, this is Rusty from the Olive Branch Cafe. The Olive Branch Cafe pizzas, pastas, and salads are the West Bank's favorites. We use only the freshest ingredients and prepare everything daily, like our lasagna, Caesar salad with our homemade Caesar dressing, and signature pizzas, including our Cajun trio, smoked sausage, chicken, and crawfish. Our lunch menu includes wraps, subs, soups, and salads, and everything starts at less than $12. West Bank born, West Bank raised, West Bank proud. The Olive Branch Cafe, Marrero and Algiers.
Hey, this is Christian Garrick. I'm excited about my new show on WGSO 990 AM, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 p.m. There are a lot of things going on in this country and in the city that are concerning. I'm your voice. You might be afraid to speak out for fear of cancel culture or losing your job. The Christian Garrick Show on WGSO is your platform, noon to 2, weekdays, right here on 990 AM WGSO.
Boy, have we got a show for you this week. Ever wonder where all the great songs have gone? Well, we found them. Hey everyone, I'm Pat Matthews, your host of 70s Deja Vu. And once again, I'll be looking in the rearview mirror and I'll see you in the back seat. Join me for some great music, all selected to get you going on 70s Deja Vu. Sunday morning at 7 a.m. right here on 990 AM WGSO.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back. That's a great song. Whoever picked that, did you pick that song out for me? BJ did a fantastic song. Anyway, all right, we're back with the Jack Clegg Show. Before I go on my rant, as I was, about where are the open borders people who argue that we should have had more and more immigrants? Where are they? Where are they? They're nitpicking at what Trump is doing here, there, and the other. Oh, illegal immigrants don't get due process. You know, silly stuff like that. But on a big picture, what's best for our country? I don't hear anybody. Now, occasionally, if you read something, you'll find somebody who was making money off the illegal immigrants. What do you mean, Jack, making money? Organizations or NGOs, others getting money from grants and other federal sources And they were helping these migrants march up through Central America to Mexico and across the border. We know it. People were making money off of it. Okay, other than them, where are the Washington bureaucrats to come forward and defend what they did? Their silence is deafening. The fact that we don't hear from them. Okay, I said I wanted to interrupt my rant, and this is, for those of you who listen to the show, I have a very nice announcement for next Friday's show. We are going to have future leaders of New Orleans, Louisiana, and this country. Jack, that's a pretty broad statement. How could you say that? Well, my in-depth statistical survey of people in high school who win state championships in their various sports, their various academic enterprises, end up being leaders. It happens. We know it. Next Friday, June 6th, the 81st anniversary of D-Day. How about that? On the Jack Clegg Show at 4 p.m., we will have the Sacred Heart High School Women's State Championship golf team. We have 5 of their players and the coach who agreed to come in, and I am so happy that they're here. Women's golf is exploding. Women are hitting the ball as far as men are. It's an amazing transformation in my life. There were hardly any women in my neighborhood that played golf at all. There weren't many men, but when men started to golf, there weren't many women. Today, the numbers are exploding, and they're performing excellently. They take well to coaching, and I'm excited to have the Sacred Heart High School State Championship winners in 2025. They'll be on our show next Friday. Okay, I'll probably make another announcement at the end of the show, but please, if you have a high school age kid or grammar school age kid, have them listen to the show, because I'm hoping to address some of what got them motivated to do what they're doing, what they've already gotten out of their experience, and what they hope to get out in the future. You'll find many of them, and I coached high school sports years ago, and with the successful people, you can tell early, and I'm delighted to be able to share some airtime with them next Friday. Okay, back to my rant. I'm putting my evil face on. All right, we're going to be talking about today this complete absence of people coming forward and making arguments. They will make arguments on individual cases, okay? Like, they're still talking about that fella who was in Maryland. He was an illegal alien, a gang member, and he got sent to El Salvador, okay? And where he was from, and he was here illegally. And they're talking about that one guy, over and over again. All right. Silly. What about the tens of thousands that came across? And how did they get here? And how did you let that happen under the Biden administration? That's the point. One guy, while I'm a big proponent of individual rights, and that's important, and, people need to have their rights protected. I understand that. But the real point here is, what are you going to do about the thousands? All right. In particular, why am I talking about that now? Well, the Supreme Court just supported Trump in a huge case. All right, let's back up a second. Trump comes in, and remember, during his first administration, he was building a wall. He realized you cannot have unchecked immigration in a country. It will destroy everything. And we see it in Chicago. We see it in New York. We see it in other areas that are changing, not for the better, but for the worse. And we see our finances going to care for illegal aliens instead of FEMA. Talk to people or listen when people talk about what happened in North Carolina, Tennessee during the hurricanes, why FEMA didn't have the money to help those people, such as those that were helped in New Orleans in 2005 with Katrina. They didn't have those resources. Why? Because the money was going to help illegal immigrants survive in America. Sure, help people out, and I'm in favor of that. But if you're in a country, all right, let's say you're I'm gonna pick on a country. I am making this up. This is purely made up. But let's say you are the president of Costa Rica. Nice country. Nice country. And everybody pays some taxes and whatnot. And a lot of people start moving to your country because it's a nice country. The more people that move there, you can't really protect them anymore. You don't have the same amount of money because when they're coming in, they're taking, they're not giving. So what do? You say, hey, why don't you go to the United States? If you really want, why don't you go? Do you think those countries mind that people leave their countries and go to the United States? I don't think so. I don't think they do. I think they're happy when people leave. Okay, we're going to take a break in a minute with the Jack Clegg Show. We've got a caller online we'll get to. Our phone number, 504-556-9696. That's 504-556-9696. Give us a call.
Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
Tired of placing multiple calls to multiple vendors and getting the runaround? Turn to one resource who can get it done. Sir Speedy. We provide a wide spectrum of print, signs, and marketing services, all backed by more than 5 decades of experience. So when you need that new brochure, direct marketing campaign, or signage to promote your brand, give us a call at 504-586-9812 or visit us online at sirspeedyneworleans.com. Everything you need, one resource, Sir Speedy.
Hello, this is David Jeremiah. Join me each weekday morning at 4:30 or 5:30 a.m. for Turning Point on the community voice of the Crescent City WGSO.
Hi, this is Rusty, owner of the Olive Branch Cafe. Join me on Tuesdays at 4 for the Best Bank Hour on WGSO 990.
Hey, this is Nicole Dornack, and I'm excited to say I will be coming back Saturdays at noon. Catch me, Nick at Noon. We'll be discussing food, life, the arts, libation, cooking, what's in, what's out at the grocery store, what's going on around town, everything that makes our city great. Calls and comments are welcome. Tune in Saturdays at noon right here, WGSO 990 AM, or catch the replay on the podcast on the Mixler app or at WGSO.com. Looking forward to chatting with y'all.
Hey, fellow patriots. I'm John.
And I'm Mike.
We're the Jambalaya Boys from the Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya Show.
Join us Saturday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com.
God, family, and country.
Social Security is with you through life's journey from birth to retirement. As your life changes year to year, so do your needs. For over 80 years, Social Security has helped to meet your needs and is committed to improving access to the services that make a difference in your life.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. The Insurance Council of Louisiana is concerned about House Bill 148 that Governor Landry just signed into law that gives the insurance commissioner the ability to reject rate increases regardless of market conditions. Executive Director Rodney Braxton says the law is reminiscent of when Louisiana had the now abolished Insurance Rating Commission, which he says injected politics into the process.
When it's politics, it is hard to push back, particularly when they have weakened the language in there that will give him the ability to rely on actuarial science.
Black bears have been spotted roaming neighborhoods in Baton Rouge and in Covington and Abita Springs. LDWF Large Carnivore Program Manager John Hanks confirmed that bears live in the area but are rarely seen. Hanks says the largest known bear in Louisiana was 698 pounds.
But that's kind of an anomaly. A big bear in Louisiana is probably 500 to 550, but we commonly have bears, 250 to 400 pounds.
LRN.
Matthew.
Sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Hey, y'all! Spring festival season is coming to a close with these upcoming festivals and fairs. May 30th through June 1st, Jean Lafitte Seafood Festival and Washington Parish Balloon Festival in Franklinton. May 31st, Asian Heritage Festival in New Orleans. Visit festivals.explorelouisiana.com and make your plans to laissez le bon temps relais. Hey, this is BJ Russ. Make sure you join me every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show right here on WGSO 990 AM. We'll be on from 7 to 8 p.m. We'll talk sports, music, movies, and pretty much anything in between. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM. That's the place to be. And don't forget that you can listen to us on WGSO.com and on the Mixler app.
WGSO 990 AM is the only locally owned and operated talk station in New Orleans. We feature 20 local hosts discussing a variety of topics. In an era when the daily newspaper is being discontinued and our competitors are out-of-state media conglomerates, we ask you, our listeners, to support local programming on a local station. To advertise or sponsor one of our great shows, contact me at jeff@wgso.com or call 504-669-6076.
Broadcasting from deep within the Louisiana Purchase, beneath spacious skies, overlooking the fruited plain, and smack dab in the land of the free. The American Ground Radio Program with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr, where freedom grows. Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
Make a difference in the community. Join the JPSO family. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office is recruiting candidates for our July 2025 Police Academy. If you are a recent graduate, former military, or someone looking for a new career where you can make a difference, join the Academy and learn the academic and tactical skills to protect and serve. Application deadline for the July Academy is March 21st, so don't wait. Join the JPSO family. Visit jpsojobs.com today.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to the Jack Clegg Show here on WGSO 990 AM, WGSO.com for the audio podcast, and YouTube, the Jack Clegg Show, for being able to see what we're doing here. Okay, we have a caller that's patiently been online. Matthew, how are you?
I'm doing well. And
Good.
you, sir?
I'm fine. I just have to make sure it doesn't rain before 6 o'clock. I rode my bike down here. I don't like getting wet.
Well, the only way to solve that is to go outside with your raincoat on the way home, and it won't rain. The sun will come out and shine on you the entire way home.
Hey, right.
And when
Carry an umbrella or put on a raincoat, and that'll keep the rain away.
Right. Especially if, in order to keep the rain away, it requires you to be uncomfortable. I can guarantee you won't see a drop of rain or a cloud. You will roast.
Very good.
Frickin'. So the question of who was running the auto pen, according to a undercover video of David Hogg.
I saw that.
The
Veritas video, wasn't it?
Right. And
Yeah.
Right. And apparently, according to what he says, it was Jill Biden's chief of staff.
Right.
A very shadowy figure.
Yes.
But according to Ed Mark, the special investigator for the executive branch under Donald Trump, who was going to be the D.C. federal agent in charge.
Sure. Martin was his name, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He said that it basically was a kind of a group effort.
Yeah.
It was a couple of staffers for Valerie Jarrett, and it was basically a bunch of interns, in essence, who had their own idea of what would be the exact ideal country for us to live in, which is not much of a country.
Well,
but they're fresh out of college. And they've great ideas. This time they can get communism to work.
Here's and that may be true somewhat, but we had leaders in every one of those departments. Let's pick immigration because that's an easy thing to talk about. Everybody kind of knows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had Mayorkas. All right. You know where he is now?
Probably sunning himself someplace nice.
Right. The answer is no, we don't. Why don't we? Because no one has heard from him. Okay, if I was an editor or a decision maker at CNN, I would say, you want to make a difference? Let's interview Mayorkas. Let's see what he has to say about what's going on today with immigration versus when he was in charge of immigration. Let's see what he has to say. Simple, right? And then the answer would be...
The challenge is that Jasmine Crockett is much more photogenic.
Well, she wasn't there at the time, and the point is, what needs to be done is for 7 days in a row or 14 days out of 30, you say, we've contacted Mayorkas, we've asked him to talk to us, he refuses to. If there's any doubt on anyone's mind that he cannot stand up for what he did, it tells me what he did was illegal. If he can't even put together a cogent argument that letting all these people in the country was a good thing, why was he doing it? Why was he allowing it to happen?
He was doing it because he was instructed to do it.
Well, possibly. That's an answer. Look, I was serving at the president and the president told me. Okay, that's an answer. That's okay.
Right.
But
I don't think he was told by the president.
I don't think he was told by the president either. But somebody did, if he was told by somebody. And that's one possible answer he gives.
Norm Eisen?
Who's that?
Norm Eisen told him? Mark Elias? No, I'm being serious.
I don't know. And I'm not going to speculate because the point isn't right now speculate on who might have told him. The point is, why isn't he being asked? That's the real point.
It's entirely possible that he has a lawyer who told him that if a news media organization calls up to ask, you simply say, on the advice of counsel, I decline.
Well, that's a great answer. I wish you would say that. That's a great answer. That is a terrific answer. But that's not. But the
CNN
point
won't
is,
even tell you if they ask.
well, see, that's what distinguishes. That's what distinguishes someone who loves the country versus someone who has an agenda. And his agenda is different than what's good for the country. Why am I saying it's good for the country? It's if we made a mistake, let's find out what we did and not do it again. Okay?
Right.
This immigration issue is not going to disappear.
No, as a matter of fact, it could come roaring back.
Exactly.
At the end of Donald Trump's term when he's impeached.
Well, did you hear? I'm going to digress for a second. Hillary Clinton has spoken about her approval of Donald Trump running for a third term. Have you heard this?
No, I do have to ask, was she drug tested and sober when she said that?
Well, I don't know when people are sober and when they're not. You can tell if they're falling down. I don't think she was falling down drunk. But when she said it, I got to tell you the reason why she's in favor of Trump running for a third term.
By all means, I'm all ears.
Because that means Barack and Bill can run.
Ah.
How about
okay.
that? How about that?
All right.
There's an article, I forget which rag it was in, but she was actually quoted as saying that, well, Trump, he's always signaling what he's going to do before he does it, and you just got to pay attention to him. So she's now the Svengali that knows exactly what Trump means, but maybe Trump does. I think he's doing a successful job in the short time he's there. We don't know, but if he
He's
somehow
trolling too. Let's be honest.
Well,
he likes to do that.
Yeah, and as long as he still has his wits about him, and I know he's getting older too, as long as he still has his wits about him, I don't have a problem. We do have a 22nd Amendment. We've got to get by that. Now, maybe the country would say, we're ready for a change to the 22nd Amendment. I mean, maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe he would run as vice president.
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people who are even Trump fans who would look askance at that.
Well, but irrespective,
you want to always be careful not to set the precedent.
Well, the bigger point, I think, is the one that I was more intrigued by. And I asked you this before. I think I did. Are you listening at all to the summarizations each day after the Diddy trial?
No, sir.
And why not?
Because the subject matter has little long-term consequences for the future of the Republic of the United States of America as a democratically elected and controlled republic, where we the people have a strong say in our government.
Okay. Well, one day was extraordinarily relevant to that precise point, and that was the day that there was testimony about Diddy's best friend in D.C.
Okay.
That was Barack Obama.
Yes. I remember they had an interesting relationship.
Well, this guy who testified was called Agent Redacted, Special Agent Redacted of the FBI. They didn't give his name because he's still with the FBI. And he's been with them for 20-some years. And he has been in the organized crime division. And he was leading the organized crime, the efforts to root out organized crime in the entertainment business. So he kind of was in on what was going on with Diddy and all the other Hollywood and music moguls that were bringing young girls into mentorships really didn't turn into the kind of mentorships you would want your daughter to have. And
yeah, I understand that. There was also the issue of young boys as well. And
right, exactly.
55-gallon drums of baby oil.
Yeah. Okay. Well, put all that icky stuff away and look to the Republic side and how much assistance Diddy got from the White House when the FBI had raids that were planned, and right before, with men with uniforms and guns ready to go do it, they got called off from the White House. So dig deep in there. I got to take a break. Will you hold on till next session?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do have one story of my own
Okay.
I'd like to bring up before we finish up.
We're going to take a break right now. Back with the Jack Clegg Show in a moment.
Health Connections, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. Doctors, researchers, authors, and more. Join me Wednesdays at 5 o'clock right here on WGSO 990 AM.
Negative news got you down?
Tune in at 4 o'clock on Thursdays and turn your life around. Only good vibes.
On WGSO 990 AM.
Hey, do you ever wonder who really listens to talk radio? Or even, who is this new Lisa and why are we going live with her? And what does it mean to be unscripted? Hey guys, my name is Lisa Leonardi and I am the new talk show host of Live with Lisa Unscripted. My show is about living our unique NOLA life with a touch of inappropriateness and a ton of side-splitting laughs to get you home every Monday at 4 p.m. here on WGSO 990 AM.
I'm pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the Pet Buzz airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Don't get stuck in boring talk radio. Give it a much-needed splash of laughs and a little Southern Louisiana flavor with Implicit Bias Radio. I'm Kavan Bordelon. Join the crew and I each Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. as we give our thoughts on what's going down around the country. We'll crack open a fresh bottle of whiskey each week as we talk about what's swirling around in our heads and in the glasses. The Implicit Bias Radio Show, every Saturday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on WGSO 990 AM.
New Orleans isn't just a city, it's a story, and I'm here to tell it. I'm Richard Bienvenu, host of a brand new radio show all about the food, music, history, and culture that make this city unlike any other. Join me every Monday at 5 p.m. as we uncover hidden gems, share incredible stories, and take you deep into the heart of the Crescent City. Whether you're a local or just love New Orleans, this is your show. That's Completely New Orleans, Mondays at 5 p.m. on WGSO. Come join us.
Love to cook or just love food? Then Chew On This is your new go-to. Join me and Don Clement for mouth-watering recipes, kitchen hacks, and tasty food talk. Tune in at our new time, Saturdays at 2 p.m., and satisfy your cravings. Don't miss a bite, only on WGSO or online at WGSO.com.
Big Easy Pet Shop and Rescue is a nonprofit volunteer-run rescue. We provide adoption services and care for homeless animals across the New Orleans metro area. We also offer pet supplies and grooming services at our downtown and Marigny locations. The shops are located at 839 Spain Street and 513 Dumaine Street and are open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays and noon to 6 on Saturdays, noon to 5 on Sundays. We can be found on the web at BigEasyPetShop.com. Support local animals in need by shopping and adopting with Big Easy Animal Rescue.
All right, New Orleans. Welcome back to the Jack Clegg Show here on WGSO 990 AM, WGSO.com for the audio podcast, and YouTube, the Jack Clegg Show. You can watch it anytime you want. Okay, we have one of our callers, Matthew, who wants to ask us really difficult question. Pay attention.
It's hardly difficult. It's just kind of pointing out the way that people are informed about what's going on. Like one of the things that they included in the big beautiful bill, which supposedly has no cuts at all, is a requirement that people receiving food stamps, in order to continue receiving food stamps, their children must be below the age of 7, or they have to seek work. Somehow, that got out to a lot of people, and I'll send you the video of it. It's quite incredible. Somehow that got out to people that it means that children below the age of 18 to 7 are going to have to find jobs.
Well, if it's good enough for the Chinese, it's good enough for us, right?
Yeah, except I don't think even the Chinese do that.
Unbelievable. So wait a minute, is that actually legitimate, or is that what someone said?
That's what somebody thought, because apparently the way they read the bill, they don't realize it's a work requirement or an education requirement for the parents.
I got you. Well, and boy, I watched a wonderful podcast the other night, and the issue was, it's one of the most important issues I think we face. And boy, and you could go on and on and on about it. And it is the question of single parent families. And
That's
whether
a big issue.
Oh, it's a huge issue. It's huge. And some people do fantastic. Some people do terrific. And it's not a failure for everybody. However, I'm one of those kind of people. I don't know if you are, but I'm one of those kind of people. If you have a lot of options, okay, I want to identify what's the worst thing that can happen if you go down that road. Because I want to avoid that. You can't always tell, this is going to be middling, this is going to be really good. Okay, oh, that's nice.
It's
But
going to be mediocre.
Something's going to be mediocre. But I want to know, if I do this, what's the worst? Oh my God. I mean, I could break the law. That would be, I'd go to jail. I don't want that one. So I look at something else, and I eliminate options based on how bad things can happen if you follow that option. And with the single parent family, I think that's the way you have to look at it. And again, there were women that were married to knuckleheads who beat them up. Okay, I am not at all in favor of them staying in a marriage to get roughed up. That's not worth it. Okay, that's you're already in a horrible position. Get rid of the knucklehead, and then there are programs. There's financial help out there. There's things that can help you. Okay, but on a bottom line, your choice to raise a child by yourself or with your sister or with another friend or whatever,
grandmother usually,
or a mother or a grandmother, exactly, versus having a man in the house who's not a knucklehead, who's not going to beat you up and do stupid stuff. That's how can anybody assert, with all we know now, that it's better to be without a man in the house than to have one? How to not have one?
Nobody can, and as a matter of fact, President Trump has suggested that we allow some public assistance for married couples, not just single mothers.
Sure.
But of course, the moment he says that, the conservatives just freak out, because that means giving somebody some more money, which I understand the point. You don't want to create a society of dependent people. I mean, it's the same reason there's signs in the parks. Don't feed the bears. Do not want a population of dependent bears. That's just as true as the population of people.
Well, on the news broadcast we just heard a moment ago, my producer Kobe and I were just talking about it. You know, we have an outbreak of a disastrous proportion on the North Shore and in Baton Rouge. You know what that is?
Of black bears.
Black bears, right. And there's one reason why we have the black bears. Because it's easy for them to eat around us. It's easy. Nobody shoots at them. Nobody scares them away. You know, once they realize, I just have to go up to that dumpster and I can I can put on weight by doing that. So yes, and back to the point that we were making. Yes, giving people a helping hand is not what is wrong. What's wrong is making them believe that having a family without a father and a mother is a bad thing. That it's just I cannot accept it. Now I'm old enough to remember I was eighth grader in 1969, and in Illinois they passed the law allowing you to get divorced without fault.
No fault of divorce, yes.
Correct. And at that time, it was living separate and apart for 6 months. Meaning, if you, as the woman or the man, left the domicile and stayed out for 6 months, living with your mom, living with your friend, whatever you did, you could get a divorce. You wouldn't have to prove adultery. You wouldn't have to. Okay. And so many people took advantage of that because if they had children, they automatically got a check. Aid for dependent children. And the father didn't have to pay child support.
No, the father and the mother got to enjoy in a rather pleasurable activity. It's pleasurable for a reason.
Right.
And basically stick the taxpayer with the bill. And I'm not saying these women do not love their children, but it would be much more helpful, especially if you are in a situation where resources are scarce. Because, I mean, let's face it, working at the Waffle House is noble work, but you're probably not going to be able to afford the most premium daycare or live-in nanny money can buy.
Right.
I do know a woman who was
I got to let you go. We're reaching our point. Matthew, thanks for calling in. Always delightful to hear from you. Okay. Folks, come back in a moment with the Jack Clegg Show.
This is Kate Delaney from America Tonight. The show kicks on at midnight, and I'm loving the overwhelming support in New Orleans. What a group of fantastic listeners here on WGSO 990 AM. Join me every morning to catch up on what I call the buzz in your backyard and mine. You'll hear some of the most interesting people on the planet from the world of business, politics, sports, and, well, just intriguing people with a story to tell. If you're around, give us a call. Don't worry, I'll spit out the number plenty of times on the air. Let's agree to meet at midnight right here on WGSO 990 AM in New Orleans.
Hey folks, it's Jeff Cruier. I've been with WGSO for 17 years as host and now president and general manager. WGSO is a community-based radio station, a nonprofit, locally operated. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasizing local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, then we have some prime spots available for you. Take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@wgso.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO.
Hey, do you ever wonder who really listens to talk radio? Or even, who is this new Lisa and why are we going live with her? And what does it mean to be unscripted? Hey guys, my name is Lisa Leonardi and I am the new talk show host of Live with Lisa Unscripted. My show is about living our unique NOLA life with a touch of inappropriateness and a ton of side-splitting laughs to get you home every Monday at 4 p.m. here on WGSO 990 AM.
Hey, this is BJ Russ. Make sure you join me every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show right here on WGSO 990 AM. We'll be on from 7 to 8 p.m. We'll talk sports, music, movies, and pretty much anything in between. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM. That's the place to be. And don't forget that you can listen to us on WGSO.com and on the Mixler app.
Negative news got you down.
Tune in at 4 o'clock on Thursday and turn your life around. Only good vibes.
On WGSO 990.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump celebrated Elon Musk this afternoon at the White House. Musk, a billionaire who slashed through government agencies, is stepping away from his official role as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency. President Trump says Elon Musk has helped generate colossal change in Washington.
Elon has worked tirelessly helping lead the most sweeping and consequential government reform program in generations. And you know the kinds of things that he's found and his people have found. He's brought a group of very smart people in, and they found things that are pretty unbelievable.
Musk says Doge will carry on without him. 2 major league pitchers are dealing with online death threats, and they're taking protective action. Correspondent Mike Hempen reports.
Lance McCullers of the Astros says after he received online death threats this month, his 5-year-old daughter began asking questions, wondering who wants to hurt me. McCullers ended up hiring 24-hour security for his family. Boston reliever Liam Hendricks used social media to call out people who are threatening his wife's life. Both the Astros and Red Sox are using MLB security to deal with social media users who direct threats toward players and their families. I'm Mike Hempen.
The Supreme Court has again cleared the way for the Trump administration to strip temporary legal protections from hundreds of thousands of immigrants for now. This pushes the total number of people who could be newly exposed to deportation to nearly 1 million people. The justices on Friday lifted a lower court order that kept humanitarian parole protections in place for more than 500,000 migrants from 4 countries, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. On Wall Street, the Dow by 54 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You heard the news. Newsmax just went public on the New York Stock Exchange and listed on the big board. Millions of Americans like you are joining our news revolution. Reuters Institute says Newsmax is one of the top 12 news brands in America. Even President Trump says it's terrific. 40 million Americans go to Newsmax, and its audience grew 50% since the same time last year. Millions really are making the switch to Newsmax. If you want to be a Newsmax share owner, call your advisor or get more info at newsmaxinvest.com. Stand with Newsmax today for a strong America. This communication is for informational purposes only and shall not be intended to or shall not constitute any offer to buy or sell securities, nor shall there be any sale of securities in any jurisdiction in which such offer, solicitation, or sale would be unlawful.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street closed its best month since 2023 with a quiet day of trading. The S&P 500 was essentially flat as it finished a winning week and its first winning month in the last 4. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.1% and the NASDAQ Composite fell 0.3%. Hopes climbed through the month that the worst of the pain caused by President Trump's tariffs may have already passed, though uncertainty still hangs over the market. Treasury yields edged lower in the bond market following encouraging reports on inflation and consumer sentiment in the United States. The Dow is up 54 points to 42,270. The NASDAQ lost 62 to 19,113. And the S&P 500 dropped fractionally to 59.11. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
Atmosphere's drying out tonight with low humidity. That's going to serve up a nicer feel to the air, but it's still warming up for the weekend. Rain chances come down, though, with a fair sky developing overnight. Early morning low 60s to low 70s. Tomorrow afternoon, sunshine and partly cloudy, the middle 80s. A partly sunny afternoon Sunday with a high into the upper 80s. We're back to a returning minimal chance, though, for some thunderstorm activity with a partly cloudy afternoon Monday. Back up there to the upper 80s. Ralph Sanji, WGSO. Tractor. service vehicles, sports cars, portable buildings, boats, motors, lawn equipment, and much more at Henderson Auction's 2-day summer public live auction, 9 a.m. each day, Thursday, Friday, June 19th and 20th. Preview Wednesday, June 18th, 9 to 4 at Henderson Auctions, Florida Boulevard, Livingston, Louisiana. More info at hendersonauctions.com. This is license number AB-459.
The views and opinions expressed during this show are those of the host and guests only. In no way do they represent the views, positions, or opinions expressed or implied of WGSO 990 AM or North Shore Radio Incorporated.
We can afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible.
All right, New Orleans, welcome to the second half, or the fifth inning, if you will, of the Jack Clegg Show here on WGSO 990 AM, WGSO.com, and YouTube, the Jack Clegg Show, if you want to watch what's going on. And as I said at the earlier part, when we started the show at 4 o'clock, if you're watching the LSU game, I understand. But every commercial or so, turn us on and you can hear what's really going on. I'm curious whether did LSU start or not at 5 o'clock. We'll check that in a minute. Okay. On the last point about this topic. Okay. Many of you have heard TPS. Okay. Temporary permanent status. Or I'm sorry, not permanent. I misspoke. Sorry. Temporary protected status. That was the recent case that Trump won. Okay. Trump comes in. He says, "Look, we got millions and millions. We don't even know how many we have of illegal immigration in our country, and we got to get rid of them." Okay. So, where's the list? There is no list. Because most of them came across, they didn't give anybody their name, and if they gave them a name, it's not even their real name, and if they gave them a real name, they're not there. However, during the Biden administration took advantage of a law that was passed in 1990. What law was that, Jack? Well, that was the Immigration Act of 1990. It changed immigration a little bit, and it was done with fantastic intent. The intention was that sometimes people in countries that are hit by civil wars or extraordinary natural developments like earthquakes or floods, their homes are destroyed, they needed a place. So we took them in on a temporary basis. And boy, that's a great thing to do. That's terrific. That's, and I'm proud that I'm in a country that can do that kind of thing. That's great. Well, the problem with that is, good news, bad news. The good news is there are usually lists of those people so you can find out who they are and where they are. And if you want to deport them, you can. That's the easy and nice thing about it. The bad thing about that is some of these people have been here a long time and they put down roots. But the word temporary doesn't seem to be in their language because they think they need to belong here. And others who are advocating on their behalf believe they should be here forever. But the law did not allow them to get citizenship. It was not a path to citizenship. It was temporary. Okay. So on Wikipedia, if you want to, I don't have time to go through all of it right now, but just simply type in temporary protective status. And it will give you the history of it, how it began. And it began, again, with good reason to take care of people who needed help, and we could do that. Okay. What happened in the last 4 years is amazing. Okay. When you go to temporary protected status, there's a table called nationals, and it contains a list of the countries that have nationals, their citizens living here with under temporary protected status. Now, it doesn't say how many there are. I wished it hid, because that would be really interesting. They say there's upwards of 2 or 3 million people here. But again, just going through the list. El Salvador. This is what Wikipedia says about people from El Salvador that are here in the country under temporary protected status. They have been here since March 9th, 2001. Repeat that. Since March 9th, 2001, in response to a January 2001 and February 2001 earthquakes. Okay, guys, that's 24 years ago. They're scheduled to end September 9th, 2026. Wait a minute. I'm not saying that if you live in a country and your neighborhood got destroyed by an earthquake, it's great that America can help you out. Okay. And if you told me somebody lived here 2 or 3 years as a result until they got things squared away and built back, that's cool. But this was 2001. And it's scheduled to end, and I remember this happening right before Trump took over. Biden increased the time. I think it was supposed to end in 2024. He pushed it back to 2026. Why would he do that? September of 2026. Well, because on a news cycle, this is going to be the midterm elections in 2026, and they're going to make Trump and all Republicans look like meanies by sending all these people home. That's my guess. Okay. Haiti. They have had nationals under temporary protective status here since July 23rd, 2011. There was a 2010 earthquake. And in 2021, this is when Biden was president, in response to the Haitian crisis. Well, you got to go down and read the footnote what that was. Well, that was when the gangs started taking over. Haiti has been broken for decades. Why we let that be a reason, I don't understand. And who the people were, I don't know who they were. They were not vetted. This doesn't say these people were properly vetted. Okay, Nicaragua, since January 5th, 1999, in response to Hurricane Mitch. Remember Hurricane Mitch? I don't. It was March of 1998. Were you born? He was born in 99, my producer. So this is before you were born, and it's scheduled to end July 5th, 2025. So Trump's the bad guy? We're trying to get these people out of here? I don't think so. Okay, speaking of bad guys, we got Rusty, who's not a bad guy. Hey, Rusty, how you doing, man?
How am I doing? We need a whole group of people to decide that, I suppose. Some will say great, some will have not great. I hope I can get my main point up before you break.
Go ahead.
All right, here goes. I want to say this first. I hate to always pre-state stuff, but I've been a big supporter of Mr. Trump after he started to run the first time.
Sure.
But I don't believe in being a tin soldier. I said this on your show before, and I said this whole thing with the immigration is not washing out. That it's deportation, not the border part.
Mm-hmm.
Today I saw on the screen, though I didn't have time to put the sound on it, his goal is to make it 3,000 people a day to deport.
Mm-hmm.
That's less than 1 million. I mean, that's just over 1 million.
Right.
For a year. He has mentioned in his speeches, I've heard many, many times, and even after he became president, there's 21 million or more. That's a quote from him.
Sure.
That means only 4 million of the 21 million plus that he talked about, he has a goal. That's his goal. That's not happening yet, but that's his goal of 3,000.
Sure.
And it's simply making it clear to me he has no real incentive to carry through what his goal is. And again, to me, the country is lost. We can talk about this stuff in all kinds of ways, but our country is lost if we allow that many, say 15, 16 million to remain in our country, if his figures are right. The country is lost. All the things you've been saying in the last hour is the reasons why. And we have our own issues in our own country and our own people. And if he's settling on a goal of 3,000 a day, then the country is gone.
I got that point, and you made it before we have to take a break. So you get 2 gold stars on Rusty's forehead for making a good point and timely. Okay, we're going to take a break and come back and discuss this. I think there's a partial answer to it, but we'll get it in a moment. Folks, we'll be back to the Jack Clegg Show in a moment. Hold on, Rusty.
Hey, this is Nicole Dornack, and I'm excited to say I will be coming back Saturdays at noon. Catch me, Nick at noon. We'll be discussing food, life, the arts, libation, cooking, what's in, what's out of the grocery store, what's going on around town, everything that makes our city great. Calls and comments are welcome. Tune in Saturdays at noon right here, WGSO 990 AM, or catch the replay on the podcast on the Mixler app or at WGSO.com. Looking forward to chatting with y'all.
Hi there, everybody. This is Jackie Gumbo, inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. for Uncle Jackie's Gumbo. A little bit of this and a whole lot of that each and every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. only on WGSO 990 AM New Orleans or WGSO.com. Bring your gumbo, baby. We're going to have us a blast.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Bring your business back to life with signs. Show-stopping signage can give your business the visibility it needs. Sir Speedy is a trusted resource for sign design, production, and installation. From trade show displays, banners and posters, to directional signs, window decals, wall graphics, and more, Sir Speedy's sign capabilities can help your business get noticed. Call us today at 504-586-9812. Sir Speedy, we do.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you going to do? You're going to go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to Jack Clegg Show. Inning number 6, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, good. We're on to baseball. Did we find out when the game started yet? 5:30, they pushed it back. So you still listen to the Jack Clegg Show, and then you can listen to baseball. All right. Rusty, And you made a really good point. And who can argue with the numbers?
Well,
Of course,
it's his numbers. It's his numbers.
Right,
It's
right.
not somebody else is saying. He's saying this is my goal. One day, who knows when, we get 3,000 a day. But even with that figure of that goal, it leaves just over $1 million a year, and he's only in office another 3.5 years.
okay, and I got you. And the numbers look small. They look small. However, let's talk about this. Right now, there are efforts that lawyers are coming forward through special interest groups to represent everybody that wants to get deported. Okay. And we cannot, I don't think we can, just have I don't want Trump to say, sorry, you have no legal rights, you're gone. I don't want him to say that. I don't want that to happen. That's the wrong thing. Some kind of hearing, something may be necessary. I don't know, because everybody has a little different situation. And so arresting 3,000 a day probably won't get to the 1.2 million the numbers would say at the end of the year.
Right.
However, I'm optimistic that my girlfriend and her theory will work.
Okay.
Because I'm always loyal to my girlfriends, whoever they are.
Oh boy. You got a harem going there?
No.
Just one girlfriend.
Just one at a time, of course. That wouldn't be a gentleman to do more than that.
Okay.
All right. Christy Nome. Okay? I think she's married and has 12 kids or something anyway, but she's so great. I love her. Christy Nome, her plan, and as she's been saying, I don't know if somebody just pulled it out of their butt and came up with this idea, or whether they have talked to behavioral scientists and there is a realistic expectation that this will happen. But what they're saying is, and what they think is, people who've been living here in America like it. Otherwise, they leave, right? So if you're an illegal and you're living here, she has been going all over the country, television commercials everywhere, saying, look, leave now. Self-deport. What do they get in return for self-deporting?
$1,000 and a possible return trip 10, 20 years from now.
Well, I don't know if it's 20 years from now. I don't know if that's true. But
There's so many that are here. I think we take in 1 million a year, Jack. Legal. 1 million
Right.
a year.
Right.
So if
Okay.
you're going to get back
Well-
15, 20 million, they're going to have to wait their turn.
Well, okay. Yes and no. Yes and no. And this is the part that I'm waiting for someone that's persuasive to tell me and to teach me whether this is true or not. In the last segment, I was about to go into this and I was talking to Matthew and we got diverted into something else.
Yeah.
But we did talk about the problem in America with single family homes and how horrible that is for the country. Okay. And as I said, individuals can succeed, individuals can do things like it, but as a rule, it's not a good way to have a society or a civilization. Okay.
Sure.
So and the consequence of that is fewer women are getting married, therefore fewer women are having children. We know our birth rate is low. Okay. We were worried 2 decades ago, oh, the planet's going to be overwhelmed with people. We won't have enough food. We're all going to die. No, that didn't happen. That's been corrected. I don't think intentionally, but it has been corrected. Now, throughout Europe and throughout the West, in the United States, people are having fewer children. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, if you have let's say, a system like ours, that when you retire, you benefit by Social Security, that's good as long as you have young people working and earning and paying into the system. But if they don't, what are you going to do? So there is an argument out there. There's an argument out there that we need to have more young people that are willing to work, young people that are going to go forward, young people that are going to carry the country forward. And I think that's the idea, that it isn't that we don't want more people. It's we want the right people. That's the problem.
That goes contrary to the argument you made earlier about Democrats not coming up and saying, "Oh, it was such a good idea to let all these people."
Well, that is the one argument they could make, but they're not making it.
One argument they can make, but the problem is there are people in this country that are hurting and needy, and some of them are able-bodied; they can work, but the business people. Who's the fault for America in decline? When Trump makes the argument, make America great, it's the businesses who've taken their businesses to everywhere else in the world and forsaken the American worker because they don't want to pay them more. That's why. They want these Mexicans, I say Mexicans, they could be many countries, but they want them to come in to work for quarter, half, and so on.
Sure.
And that's the problem. They're workers, but they don't like struggling for measly nothing, and the business people are taking their businesses to China, India, and God knows where else.
Sure.
Vietnam, and they're forsaking the American way. It's selfishness and greed. I'm not a communist. I don't believe everyone should get the same.
You sure you're not, Rusty? Wait a minute. Hold it, Rusty. What's your birthday?
Hello?
What's your birthday? What's your birthday?
I don't want to say that on the air.
Don't give me the year. What's the date?
Listen, I know yours is in August. Isn't it in August?
Yes, mine's in August.
I'll tell you this in July.
All right, you're in July. Whew. Because certain months of the year foster communist children. Okay. I read a book about it. I'm making it up. It's not true. But no one would ever confuse you with a communist. Okay. And you certainly make a compelling argument. It's true. If I was a CEO of a company, or let's say you, Rusty, you're a CEO of a company, okay? And you have shareholders who make your company go, okay? If the shareholders aren't happy with the value of the shares, what happens? I'm going to continue this after a break. We got to take a break, go for the news. Okay. Can you hold on for a few moments?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to talk about the economy when we come back.
Then look no further than Crow and Crescent. Crow and Crescent provides customizable handmade gifts, tumbler cups, and much more. All items are handmade with care and can be gift wrapped with personalized messages. For more information, you can find us at crowandcrescent.com and on Instagram. Crow and Crescent, let us show you the right gift for any occasion.
Hi, this is Rusty, owner of the Olive Branch Cafe. I'm excited about my new radio show, The Best Bank Hour, every Tuesday at 4. We'll be discussing people, places, events, and issues, all things Best Bank, every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Brought to you by the Olive Branch Cafe, with locations in Guerrero and Algiers. So join me every Tuesday at 4 p.m. for The Best Bank Hour, right here on WGSO 990.
Why was the basketball court open? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Advocates.
What does Grace mean to you? At Grace at the Green Light, a 501c3 nonprofit, We believe that everyone deserves a hot meal, clean drinking water, and the chance to go home again. Our work is made possible through the generous support of Christ Church Cathedral, the Cathedral Church of the Episcopal Diocese of Louisiana. Christ Church Cathedral acts in support of community renewal and socio-economic justice. Learn more at cccnola.org.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Ukraine. A civil suit has been filed in Los Angeles against Pelicans star Zion Williamson, who has alleged to have raped a woman on 2 occasions in 2020. The woman also alleges that Williamson was abusive and choked her when she visited him at a Beverly Hills home Williamson was renting. His legal team says the allegations are categorically false and reckless, and they claim that this is an extortion scheme. Hurricane season starts Sunday. The National Weather Service and NOAA are both prepared to keep people informed at all times with the latest life-saving information. Acting NOAA Administrator Laura Grimm says personnel will be going to great lengths in this endeavor.
The NOAA hurricane hunters are prepared to fly their P3 and G4 aircraft into and around hurricanes, with researchers on board collecting invaluable data that helps forecasters make accurate predictions and gives scientists a better understanding of storm processes.
She says NOAA is also improving its process in predicting how storms intensify. LRN.
Hey, y'all! Spring festival season is coming to a close with these upcoming festivals and fairs. May 30th through June 1st, Jean Lafitte Seafood Festival and Washington Parish Balloon Festival in Franklinton. May 31st, Asian Heritage Festival in New Orleans. Visit festivals.explorelouisiana.com and make your plans to laissez le bon temps rouler.
How did I let my gambling get this bad? The credit cards are maxed out, rent is overdue. I can't tell my family. What if I lose everything? I mean, there has to be a better way.
You're not alone. If you or someone you know are struggling with problem gambling, free and confidential help is a call or a click away. Call 877-770-STOP or visit helpforgambling.org. Take the first step toward a better tomorrow. You don't have to do it alone. A message from the Louisiana Department of Health, Office of Behavioral Health.
Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr here on WGSO 990 AM.
Negative news got you down? Tune in at 4 o'clock on Thursday and turn your life around. Only good vibes on WGSO 990 AM.
You might be afraid to speak out for fear of cancel culture or losing your job. Christian Garrick Show on WGSO is your platform. Noon to 2 weekdays right here on 990 AM WGSO.
It's pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the latest pet trends with benefits on the Pet Buzz, airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. Join me as I talk all things pets, from animal health and wellness, money-saving tips, the newest pet products, celebrity pet gossip, breaking news, and more. Our expert guests are in the know and in the now. To learn more about our unique program, our guests, and me, your host, listen to the show on WGSO 990, the community voice of the Crescent City.
When the time came, I knew I had to find a place where Mom would be safe and active while still feeling independent. A place that was close to all of us and everything she needed. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Gonzales, I found Francois Ben's Senior Living. They specialize in independent and assisted living and memory care.
Call 225-647-BEND for more information on our special pre-leasing offers.
Francois Ben's Senior Living. Experience life as it should be.
If you're suffering with scalp irritation or inflammation of the scalp, maybe flaky scalp or loss of hair, there's a new treatment out there called Keravive. Call Spot Isabel on Magazine Street, 504-595-5009. $3.99 per session. You'll need about 3 sessions. That's 504-595-5009. Spot Isabel.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to the Jack Clegg Show after the news. So now you're all well informed. The LSU game must have started. Yeah, okay. And Rusty, you still online?
I am still here.
Okay. The only thing I was thinking about, and again about the economy and everything else, is at some point, we have to look at if you were a CEO of a company and you had to work and make sure your company made a profit, because you're not going to have investors in your company if you don't. Okay. And the union that happened to work at your company, whatever the union was, whatever, decided they wanted a lot more money. And you're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And you found out you could earn the same amount of money working in Mexico. And the workers could do just as good as your workers could. So you decide to move down to Mexico and open a company there. Do you criticize that owner?
I criticize that totally. This whole station, even though there are other shows that don't talk about politics, that generally have been based upon conservative and patriotic ideas.
Sure.
You can't have to keep saying the patriotism, and have this gospel of money. This is what's going on in a conservative world. And this is the concern I have with Donald Trump and Elon Musk to a degree. I like them as people go, but the truth of the matter is you can't make money all in all. I heard Trump say this yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. That from Harvard, he might like to turn it more towards trade schools and to get someone to trade. Did you hear that?
No, I think it's great, though.
Wasn't it great? It's because there are people who are not cut out for this whole thing of escalating education so you can be a doctor or a lawyer or somebody very wealthy. There's people in this country, they're not the American people. I saw yesterday, I was looking at an entertainment show, I hardly ever look at those, and they were saying this woman became a billionaire. Ain't that wonderful? And I'm thinking, what happened to just being a millionaire? What happened to how?
What's the matter? You don't like Taylor Swift? Is that what you want?
No, I don't like all these people who claim to be big liberal, bleeding heart, that every time you look around, there's another billion going their way. And they're supposed to be wonderful people because they got more billions. Won't you use that for some of your own citizens? Won't you care about your own people?
I understand, and I partially agree with you. We want people to do their best.
Yeah.
If they're good at making money, they're good at making money. And if you call them greedy and you call them negative for being good at making money, don't quite get that.
I'm not against people making money if they're using it toward other people. But if their goal is to have, what does Elon Musk have? 200 billion? Come on. That's what they used to call that filthy rich.
Well, he is filthy rich, and there's no doubt about that. And that is a great debate to have in grammar school and in high school. No, I'm serious. It is.
Go ahead.
Because it's at that point in your life that you want to start rounding out who you are and what you want to be. If you've never been taught that you have an obligation to your fellow man.
Yes.
If you've never been taught that.
Yes.
And then you have all this money and somebody says, well, why don't you give it to all the other? You're it's another language. You don't understand what they're saying. This is the kind of thing. This is why we need education. And this is why we're failing.
But you can't put loyalty to your fellow man and education. If you teach your children to grow up just to be wealthy and not to care about other people, including your fellow citizens, then you're really not patriotic. I don't know what you are, but you're not patriotic. You're something else.
I think if you can be blinded, there are many things that can blind you from patriotism, and that's probably one of them. Listen, Russ, I got another couple of callers we want to get to, and thank you for calling. You always bring up excellent points. Okay,
thank you, sir.
Back to the Jack Clegg Show. Who was our next caller? Dotsy. Hello, Dotsy. How are you?
Hey, Jack, I forgot you were on Friday. I'm so glad you're back on. You're an interesting person.
Thank you.
I agree with Rusty a lot. I've always been fair with people. I've been too fair, and I ended up poor. But you know what? I'd rather slide into heaven poor than crash into hell rich.
There you go. There you go.
What I wanted to tell you is, single mothers. I'm not a single mother. I was always extremely careful because I had a crazy family. I was never going to get pregnant, and I just.
You wanted to stop that DNA right there. No more.
Absolutely. And of course, the men would be, why? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. I don't want to get pregnant because of my mother. You what? What does that mean? You want to get me?
I understand. I understand.
I want to get married because I had a crazy mother. Okay, now this doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but it made sense to me.
It makes sense to me too. I understand where you're going. Yes,
okay.
indeed.
So I end up, of all things, I did get married because this guy was, I'm going to commit suicide. Well, I know now that's emotional blackmail. Because the world would have been better if I'd let him put a gun in his mouth, okay?
Again, okay, well.
Avoid being murdered by him when I found out that he was murdering patients at charity hospitals. Now, I did carry this all the way through. I helped him become a doctor, and he turned out to be a horrible person. So I heard to keep from getting murdered, you clean houses. So that's what I did.
Okay.
And I tell you what, I loved it. I could have never learned so much. And I had horrible customers. And I'm threatening to write a book. I even have a title.
Oh man! I imagine the stories that you can tell from
Maid of Orleans and Jefferson. That's my title. And I always have some new project I have to do, but I swear I'm going to write it because you might get a better person. You got Dr. Carson from A Single Mother.
Sure.
And she was a wonderful person. But I worked for some of the highest paid somebodies. And when I was just cleaning their house, that wasn't that bad. It was like, yeah, right, roll your eyes.
Sure.
And then two of them in succession, they were not at the same time, asked me to care for their children, become a nanny. I was like, I don't know, that's going to... But, they offered me decent money. The kids were adorable.
Good.
They were just adorable.
Okay.
And I was afraid what would happen would happen. I fell in love with the kids.
Oh, no.
And I hated the parents. And I'm telling you, God bless them. I have prayed for those children.
Yeah.
I have prayed and prayed and prayed. When I tell you, there were actually three of them that I took care of their children.
Sure.
They were so high end. They all brought in pretty close to $1 million between the two of them.
Wow.
One was I don't want to say the word. She was in media. She was known.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, that's the one I really want to write. I fell hopelessly in love with her son. They had just gotten pregnant. They never wanted that kid. They treated that kid like you know what.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell so in love with this little boy that when they finally moved to Houston, my heart was broken. It was broken for years.
Yeah.
But what they were doing in their personal life, I think because I had him from 3 to 6, I think I made a huge difference in his life. He would ask me things like, he wanted me to tell him about Martin Luther King. So I sat down with him on Martin Luther King Day and I talked to him. He said, see, Dusty, I knew you would tell me the truth where my parents were.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It is. And all we can say, whether you believe in God or not, something out there puts the right people in our lives at the right time. I like to believe.
If you're lucky. This hoe, I checked her on Facebook, this hoe, she was Miss Conservative, now she over there and she Miss Liberal, she making big money, and she had a second child. Again, a knock-up, and she just couldn't be there for that little girl. The little girl is living a very dangerous lifestyle.
Wow.
Drugs, music,
Well,
you name it.
Well, another time when we're going to talk about this topic again, this talk.
What was the difference? Me for 3 years.
Right.
Feeding goodness into that.
It's true.
The worst thing, Jack, I got to tell you one thing.
I got to go.
Okay.
I got to go. Call back again. You're a wonderful, wonderful person to talk to. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you in a minute.
Hey, do you ever wonder who really listens to talk radio? Or even, who is this new Lisa and why are we going live with her? And what does it mean to be unscripted? Hey guys, my name is Lisa Leonardi and I am the new talk show host of Live with Lisa Unscripted. My show is about living our unique NOLA life with a touch of inappropriateness and a ton of side-splitting laughs to get you home every Monday at 4 p.m. here on WGSO 990 AM.
Hey, Mimi, we love Wednesdays, but we're moving to a new time.
Listen to He Said, She Said, Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
As usual, we'll be discussing and debating the hot topics.
And taking your phone calls.
You can find out who's right. Of course, that's me.
No, wait, Jeff, I'm never wrong. Remember, happy wife, happy life.
So we'll have a lot to talk about on He Said, She Said.
Listen to the Crew of Crew Air, Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
Right here on WGSO.
Tired of placing multiple calls to multiple vendors and getting the runaround? Turn to one resource who can get it done. Sir Speedy. We provide a wide spectrum of print, signs, and marketing services, all backed by more than 5 decades of experience. So when you need that new brochure, direct marketing campaign, or signage to promote your brand, give us a call at 504-586-9812 or visit us online at SirSpeedyNewOrleans.com. Everything you need, one resource, Sir Speedy.
Aldi and LeBlanc.
Radical Radio for Radical Times.
Wednesdays at 4 on WGSO.
Follow us on X at Aldi Blanc.
That's not America.
Don't get stuck in boring talk radio. Give it a much-needed splash of laughs and a little Southern Louisiana flavor with Implicit Bias Radio. I'm Kavan Bordelon. Join the crew and I each Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. as we give our thoughts on what's going down around the country. We'll crack open a fresh bottle of whiskey each week as we talk about what's swirling around in our heads and in the glasses. The Implicit Bias Radio Show, every Saturday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on WGSO 990 AM.
Hey, this is Nicole Dornack. Join me Saturdays for Nick at Noon. I will be discussing food, libations, the arts, life, and everything that makes our city great. Saturdays at noon, only on WGSO 990 AM.
Boy, have we got a show for you this week. Ever wonder where all the great songs have gone? Well, we found them. Hey everyone, I'm Pat Matthews, your host at 70s Deja Vu. And once again, I'll be looking in the rearview mirror and I'll see you in the back seat. Join me for some great music, all selected to get you going on 70s Deja Vu. Sunday morning at 7 a.m. right here on 990 AM WGSO.
Hi, I'm Huck.
And this is Dave.
Please join us on Liberty or Lockdown on Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Be there.
All right, New Orleans. Welcome back. This is the 8th inning, our last inning of the Jack Clegg Show for May 30th. And remember, next Friday, we're going to have the Sacred Heart Ladies State Champion Golf Team on our show next Friday, June 6th. So I'm excited about that. And speaking of sports, we're going to talk because there was a news item and Kobe and I were talking about a pitcher from the Houston Astros who had it as his opener or one of his first games, didn't do very well. And he got death threats and his family got threats. It was so bad that he actually had to take time off and not be with the team. Now he's come back. And there was another story about another pitcher that something happened. And what Kobe and I both agreed upon, and Kobe, you were born in 99?
Yes.
I was born in 55. So even from those different millennia, we both believe that something is going wrong in sports when fans get to the point where they're threatening players. And we both concluded that one of the things that may be contributing to this is sports gambling. Now, we're not talking about you and your dad betting who's going to win the Super Bowl. Oh, I'm picking the Chargers. Oh, I'm picking the Packers. We're not talking about that. But we're talking about right now the corporate gambling, which has changed from betting on your team to betting for individuals during their performances. Not over a year, not over a month, but on one particular day's event. Now, I remember several months ago I did a show on this. Again, I'm not a sports gambling fan. I think it's one of the worst things you can do. But the report I did and the research I did was showing player after player, because it's not illegal. Sports gambling is not illegal. It's legal. You can't go after players who fix games. And it's not fixing games anymore. The bets are like in basketball. I forget the name of the player's name. He was suspended because he got caught. People would bet over and under on how many points he would score in a game. The number was 15. Either under 15 or over 15. Okay, that's fine. So he's playing his game and he's doing pretty good, and suddenly he comes up lame after scoring 14 points. Now, this happens again a couple of months later. How much money do you think he got paid to have a bad ankle or a bad knee? Could have been anything. But if you were foolish enough to think that player wasn't approached by gamblers who said, hey, look, if you have 14 points and stop playing, it's worth $100,000 to you for one game. You don't have to. It's not wages. You don't have to tell Uncle Sam. You don't have to pay any taxes on that. We're going to give you the money and nobody's going to know about it. So before you start betting on individual events, just think, come on, man. It's not good for you. It's not good for the game. It's not good for the little children that Dotsie was raising. It's just not a good thing to do. Okay. All right. All the bad news. A lot of bad news today. Sorry. I hope it wasn't being a bummer for the last 2 hours. But good news. Okay. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You know who that is, right? He's in our Trump administration. He's taking over the madness that's been created by Big Pharma and Big Medicine. Okay. The CDC today finally, and boy, they're hard heads. They are hard heads. Despite the fact that the evidence does not show that healthy children or pregnant women need to take COVID vaccinations. It doesn't say that. It never has. And people were screaming about it for years. Finally, the CDC removed language that says healthy kids and pregnant women should take it. They got the power. What they've said now, they've changed it. The nation's top public health agency posted new recommendations that say healthy children and pregnant women may, M-A-Y, get COVID-19 vaccinations, removing the stronger language, which said they should get the shots. Okay, that may not mean much. And I wish they'd have said, before you get any vaccination, talk to your doctor. I cannot understand why we are allowing money talks. Rusty was right. Money talks in this way. Watch TV. See the number of commercials you see for drugs going right to the consumer. Why? Doctors aren't good anymore? We need you to tell us with some overweight, obese person dancing around saying, I lost 4 pounds last week on this drug. And then hearing, you may have suicidal thoughts, you may have projectile vomiting, you may have these, and people are buying into this stuff. I don't know what went wrong. What went wrong when people had a relationship with their doctor, and if you needed something, you got drugs, and the doctor gave it to you. But now you go to the doctor and say, I want this drug. I saw this. Again, not in every case, but it just seems to me that people need to take some control and responsibility for their lives. And because a TV commercial tells you that this drug is good, and it's about 30 seconds long, don't pay attention to it. Please don't pay attention to it. If there's something wrong, if you're overweight, you know what to do. Don't look at me or listen to the radio and say, what do you mean I know what to do? You know what to do. And if you don't, see a doctor. They will tell you what to do. Okay. What else do we have today? There was one other thing I wanted to talk about. One final thing, and I think I made the point with Rusty. I think, and I'm just guessing here, Trump doesn't call me. Trump sends me, I made a mistake. I gave Trump money years ago. This is years ago. I had extra money and I gave him some. Man, what a mistake. I get text messages and emails all the time. Okay. Good, bad stuff. Trump's doing mostly good stuff. I'm a big supporter of most of the good stuff he does. Okay. The issue that Rusty brought up about making only 3,000 arrests a day, that's pretty considerable. Now, he's right. If you do the math, that only comes with 1 million a year, 1.2 million a year. And we're supposed to have 20 million. My hope is, and again, maybe I'm too optimistic, is that Kristi Noem's approach, having people actually deport themselves with a chance to come back, will work. We won't know. We won't know for 2 or 3 years whether it's working or not. Anyway, looks like our time is just about up. Thanks for listening. Dial in next Friday, June 6th. We'll have the Sacred Heart Golf Team. Have a good weekend.